My roommates wouldn't stop eating my food, so I chefed up something that belongs in a Fear Factor challenge. I was working at the campus coffee shop like 35 hours a week while taking a full course load because my financial aid barely covered tuition. My roommate Jess didn't have a job. Her parents paid for everything, including her meal plan that she ignored completely, because why use that when she could just eat my food for free? I'd spend my one day off making chicken and rice or pasta or whatever I could afford in bulk and store it in containers on my shelf in our dorm fridge. We had assigned shelves. Mine was the bottom one with my name on a piece of duct tape, but I'd get back from my closing shift at like 11 at night, exhausted and starving, and my containers would either be gone or scraped clean in the sink. The worst part is I'd walk in and catch them eating it. Jess and usually 2 or 3 of her friends from down the hall would be sitting on our futon with my food. One time, this girl with purple hair literally said, "Oh my god, you should start a food truck. This is so good." While eating my teriyaki chicken that I'd planned to eat for 3 days, I told her to stop. I told all of them to stop. Jess would just laugh and say, "It's just food. Don't be dramatic." I started labeling my containers with my name in Sharpie. Didn't matter. I tried hiding stuff in the back of the fridge behind old takeout containers. They'd find it. I even bought a mini fridge for our room, but my RA said it was a fire hazard and made me return it. I was losing weight because I literally couldn't afford to keep replacing the food they ate. I started eating granola bars for dinner some nights because I was too broke and too tired to keep cooking just to feed Jess's friends. The breaking point came right before finals week. I'd splurged on salmon for my post-exam meals, like actually spent money I didn't have because I wanted something nice after surviving accounting. I got back from my final and walked into our dorm to find Jess and 4 of her friends having what they called fancy dinner night with my entire week's worth of honey glazed salmon. One girl actually looked up at me and goes, "Hey, can you write down the marinade recipe? My boyfriend would love this." That's when I stopped being frustrated and started getting even. I remembered like 4 months earlier when we'd all been watching Fear Factor in the common room during one of those forced dorm bonding events. When the eating challenge came on with people eating like sheep eyeballs or whatever, Jess literally gagged and told everyone that she'd rather forfeit $1 million than put anything gross in her mouth because she had such a sensitive stomach. Her friends had agreed, talking about how they couldn't even look at the meat section in ethnic grocery stores without feeling queasy. I knew exactly what I had to do. I went home for winter break and told my mom everything about the food thieves and exactly what I planned to do about it. She got this look on her face, and like an hour later, we were driving to Henderson Farm, where her cousin sold specialty cuts nobody else would touch. Mom marched straight to the back cooler and asked for 2 pounds of fresh pig brains, while I tried not to think too hard about what we were doing. In her kitchen, she showed me how to boil them until they turned all gray and lumpy with these little white bits. Then we mixed them with ground pork so it would hold together in the sauce. The texture was perfect, looked exactly like normal ground beef, so we packed that massive pot of brain spaghetti into my meal prep containers like we were loading ammunition for war. I didn't have to wait long because these girls had the self-control of toddlers in a candy store. 3 hours after I left for my shift, I walked back in to find exactly what I'd hoped for. Jess and 2 friends were standing in our kitchen with a massive pot between them, practically licking their bowls clean. The girl with the nose ring was actually scraping the sides of the pot with her spoon trying to get every last bit. She looked up when I walked in and started gushing about how this was even better than my usual stuff, and she needed to know what kind of meat I used because the texture was so unique and tender. I set down my backpack and smiled the biggest smile of my entire life. Oh, that's my grandma's special recipe using pig brains from the farm. Super healthy, actually. She lived to 95 eating this stuff twice a week, so I've been putting her exotic recipes in all my meal prep for months now. The nose ring girl's spoon hit the floor before I even finished the sentence. She sprinted to our bathroom and the other 2 followed right behind her. Then I heard it. A beautiful symphony of all 3 of them throwing up down the hall. That was the last time anyone touched my food.